such an asshole.
I got a unique one here from a regular client. Mr. Clary, American propaganda is destroying my country. I am from the Republic of Korea, South Korea. Country heavily brainwashed by American propaganda. Well, we did liberate you and prevent you from being taken over by the commies. We might have a say in your government. I did watch a documentary about how Korea industrialized post-war following the Japanese model, whereas the Japanese had kiretsus, the Japanese had shables, but very similar parallels for those of you who are bored and interesting in economics. Yeah, it might be influenced by American propaganda. I don't know if it's brainwashed. Brainwashing is a choice. If the people believe it, well, that's too bad for them. There's nothing you could do about it. And I don't know what modern American propaganda is over there in Korea, South Korea. I'll say North Korea to differentiate, because then Korea is South Korea. It's the one that kind of interacts with the rest of the world. I've been trying with limited success to get people over here around me to stop believing mainstream American propaganda and instead listen to alternative media channels such as globalresearch.ca, RT.com, that's Russian outfit, and UNZ.com. I do not know UNZ. All three sources are highly credible and objective, truthful stories that challenge and expose the satanic, demonic. Okay, stop, dude. Here's something you need to do. Culture, all right? When I was growing up, they always said, Americans suck, and you should consider other people. If you use satanic, and what's the other one? Where'd it go? Satanic and demonic, no one's going to take you seriously because they assume either you're Muslim and you're operating based on a religion, or there's nothing satanic in this culture. I mean, there is, but this is a secular culture, a secular government. When you come in there and start accusing people of satanic, they're going to assume that you're religious or like Christian or Muslim, and you're like, oh, that's satanic. It's against the Bible or against the Quran, and you lose everybody. Never use those words again. I will charge you extra for any future requests because it makes you sound like a complete freaking moron. And people just write you off like, oh, you're this pearl clutching Karen who's like watches this 700 Club and gets all freaked out because there's naughty language in the rock and roll bands. Agenda of the American empire and the lies it perpetuates about just about everything, especially the Korean War, which didn't actually begin on June 25th, nor was it instigated by the Democrat People's Republic of Korea, which is the official name of North Korea, contrary to popular belief. Look, dude, if you like them, go hang out with them. They'll take you. All right, go to the North Korea. I don't care. No, knowing communists, like in the United States, historically, they are aggressors. They want to steal people's shit. Period. End of discussion. They don't want to work. They're jealous people. They don't want to work hard. They envy people who work harder than them or smarter than them or better than them in some way or another, just perform better than them. And instead of like, hey, maybe I'll work harder, all you do is take people's crap. That's it. That's all communists do. The whole idea, well, everyone, there won't be any money and won't be any labor. Everyone just works the same, and then we just split it all there. It's like, okay, so you're lazy, you don't want to work. That's it. It's not complicated. You don't need DOS copy to all that thick. I don't care what proclamations the various North Korean leaders, what variant flavor of Korea, North Korean communism was, or Chinese. It all boils down. I don't want to work. Give me your money. That's it. That's it. It's not complicated, and fighting against it is good because communism is evil. So I have absolutely no problem against the Vietnam War or the Korean Wars. You stop the parasites? Good. Well, we didn't stop the parasites in Vietnam. How can I successfully convince my brothers to stop believing American propaganda? All right, I will side with you here that there is all propaganda from all sides of every country right now, and especially so in the United States, where at one time the United States government may have been telling you the truth about most things, but now we are in a state of mental illness where, yeah, there is American propaganda. And it's not that the government controls it. I mean, if you listen to NPR or PBS, which are government-owned media arms, though they're the government, yes, that is propaganda. It's coming from the government. But also you have to understand that here in the United States, and you can convey this to your fellow Korean colleagues, everyone in the media, government and private sector media, are all leftists, unless explicitly stated, like, say, the Cato Institute or Fox News. Nearly everyone in the United States media is a leftist. And nearly everyone in the United States media I'd almost have to say damn near 100%. Nearly every leftist that is in the United States media has absolutely no desire to report the truth or be an actual journalist. They are activists and they are propagandists. And so anything you're getting out of the United States, like at least officially ordained media, CNN, Fox News, but they're as equal propagandists to the right, but they're the only example. NBC, CBS, any media, anything coming out of the United States, television, cable, and obviously certainly PBS and NPR and the state equivalents, each 50 states in the United States, they have their own, like, New York Public Radio, which is just the state version of propaganda, of media. All of it is biased. There is only maybe a kernel of truth, but then the spin, that's the best, is there's a kernel of truth and they spin it left. So I don't watch the media. I don't watch the news. There's no reason to, because it's not true. You're watching fiction. So you could tell them that. Have them watch this video, translate to Korean for me if you would. But that much is a fact. Like when you see American news, there's also, I'm sure America, the government, the federal government has some form of, there was, what was it called? Freedom Europe or something like that to fight the Soviets. I'm sure we have some over there, American Korean radio, some kind of equivalent. It's all lie. All right. So there you go. Another thing you could tell them to do to convince them to say, look, and this is what I do. This is why I'm good at being an economist. Like I predict stuff and it's not hard. What do? I don't watch the news. I don't read articles because it's some F-wit who's got her journalism degree and suddenly he's a student loan bailout telling me how the real world is at 24 years old while sucking off a mom and dad's teeth for rent in whatever, Boston or New York City. I'm not going to listen to that. That's a lie. That's a child who's moronic and ignorant and a liar, right? What I do is I look at data. Now, of course, I was predisposed to that. Being an economist, you pull in data. We're in the heyday where data was just dumped in and the methodologies were not tinkered with. But if Koreans, for whatever topic they want to research coming out of America or globally or locally, whatever, I recommend they look at data. Don't waste your time. Like no one, I don't know what Seoul Press or whatever the main publication is over in South Korea, but I don't know why anyone here in the United States reads the New York Times. I don't know why anyone reads the Wall Street Journal. I don't know why anyone reads, certainly Newsweek. I don't know why anyone reads any kind of newspaper article when you could just go get the data yourself, especially as it pertains to economics and politics. If there's like murder or events going on, you should go get the police report. But aside from like breaking news and it's really important, terrorist attacks or something like that, any kind of propaganda which would be politically in, go get the data, look it up. You can do that in Korea as well. You don't have to believe the different political parties. What's the data say? And that's the other thing. And then the final way you can get them to not believe in propaganda is you got to ask them to use logic or their own eyes. And I'll get to later why this is all pointless and vain. But if it doesn't stand to reason, it's not true. And you got to be intellectually honest with yourself. Like, I can't imagine what it's like being a 14-year-old boy in the United States now, where they're telling young boys that big is beautiful and fat girls are wonderful and and you should be sexually attracted to fat girls. I used to think that brainwashing political propaganda was not more powerful than biology. I wonder at times, because I think these 14-year-old boys are like, oh, there must be something wrong with me for not liking fat chicks or liking the girl with big boobs and long hair. Something wrong with me. But use logic. Say, does that make sense? Okay, then something is missing. Something is missing, or they're outright lying. usually the journalists who are telling you, oh, it's X, like, but it was Y yesterday. And I knew it was Y yesterday because I saw it. Oh, no, it's X now. Well, why? All reasons. Because of the evil white man of the Republicans. It's like, wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense. Well, you must be a bigot. And you get to name call, like, wait a minute. Because I don't believe in X, I'm now a bigot. How does that square? That doesn't make any sense. And usually if you can't add it up in your head, it's not true. It's a lie. And that's where logic comes in. But I'll tell you this, here's the thing. You're not going to get people to give up on propaganda, because propaganda, a lot of times, if not the majority of times, feels good. It is to make the people it's intending to brainwash feel good in whatever way. Being a fat girl is beautiful. You're not oppressed because you're not oppressed is wrong. You're not poor, not doing as well as your average American because you made stupid choices and majored in dumb crap. You're performing poorly compared to the average because you're filling the trait: race, skin color, ethnicity, gender, whatever else. I'm trying to think. Anything that says you're a good person, or as communists tend to do, you don't have to work for a living, and it's not your fault that you're a lazy sack of filth. It's because, that capitalists, the reason we don't have a crop is because the evil conspirators within the Soviet Union prevented us. Like, no, you killed all your farmers. I'm no agricultural expert, but when you killed and enslaved and put all your farmers in jail, maybe that's why you had a famine again. So there, you could go ahead, and this is whether you're Korean, America, doesn't matter. Data telling people that all propaganda, it is, particularly as it pertains to America. Yeah, you could pretty much assume it's a lie. It's not true whatever you hear coming out of America, especially the official sources. Logic, say, does that make sense? Well, then we're missing something here. But if they're so wedded, you got to view propaganda as more like a drug that makes people feel good. If they're so addicted to that feeling good, it's very hard to get unaddicted, and they're not going to give it up. And matter of fact, they'll go so far as to call you a name or this or that. And what you got to realize as the individual is whether or not you're wasting your time and getting frustrated. You sound frustrated. You paid money to have this review done. You must be angst. You must have some frustration. This is bothering you. This is lessening your enjoyment of life because people are not listening to you. My question is there any shot they're going to listen to you in the first place? This is why I don't know how much you've tuned into the channel. I largely don't consult. I will consult women, of course, if they pay me, but I largely don't write books or create original videos that would help out women, because women in general in the United States don't want to listen to anything that doesn't fit good feelings. The narrative that, well, just the way you are is great and you're going to find a guy, and you don't have to major in math or hard subjects or work hard to become a tradesman. No, it's you go, girl, like whatever. You want to talk about a propagandized group of people, look at American women. So I learned getting friends to go out. This is strictly guys. Like, hey, do you want to go out and do something fun? No. And you probably don't realize how much pain you're enduring. It's not like going to kill you or anything, but how much you're suffering, how much is this paining you, how much is this hurting you when you try to get people you presumably in your case care about, or go out and have fun or go do something, and they just don't do it. And you're the one that's got to realize it's hurting you more than anything possible good that's going to come out of it, because nothing possible or good is going to come out of it. Like, literally, my life is too short to be trying to convince people of something they're not being capable of being convinced of. Anyone who is wasting articles of time in the United States trying to reason with fat Americans that they should get healthy, give it up. Anyone who, I'm trying to think of what else. You're trying to convince young people that going to college to study what they want instead of what's going to pay off, give it up. They're not going to. That's their birthright. And so that's what I recommend to you is it's not you don't have the problem. Just as when I want to, like, hey guys, you should leave the home and go out and play a little bit and get some exercise. That I'm not the one with the problem. but you are still incurring at least a slightly lower standard of living. You are enjoying life less because of the letdown and the sadness that ensues when people don't do the good thing you want them to. And so I would not worry about getting people to not, like, I've given up totally on the United States, like the Americans in general. I look at my generation, it's hilarious. Like, they knew everything because they were popular, and oh, we have the right type of shoes and all. And I'm looking at them, and everyone's like, maybe not insolvent, but close to it. No one has enough money saved up for retirement. It's just boomers 2.0. And I could, and I did back in the day when I was in my 20s. Hey, we shouldn't do that. That's bad. And now I get some people my age sheepishly. Yeah, you were kind of right. Oh, I was I? Are you going to make the changes in your life? No, too bad. But my life, your life, everybody else's life is too short to try to get people to do whatever it is, the right thing, believe the right thing, do the right thing. And so for you, I'd just be like, oh, okay, fine, bye. That's it. That's it. All right, if you guys kindly would subscribe to the channel, let's go through the super chats real quick if we have any. I get some food later on. I gotta go. Scrolling. Thomas Crown, $7. Leftists like to play games by saying define Marx. Right, exactly. I mean, they're going to subvert and be intellectually dishonest, and you could spend all day. That's called sophistry, or they are sophists, which is one who argues with intellectual dishonesty. They don't care about the truth. They don't care about reality. They want to make their point and believe in their lies so that they can have a preferential treatment and advantage in society at the expense of others. That's all it is. You don't know what socialism is. You don't know what communism is. Right. And I don't have time for that. It's like, you want other people's money, right? Okay, there you go. You want to disassociate work from compensation. Yes. All right. I don't care how many hundreds of pages Karl Marx wrote. Just tell me what it is. I mean, in the United States, like, think of all the different books and articles and research papers that have been written about traits, because that's the catch-all category. That's really what it is. Just tell me you don't want to work for a living and you're going to hide behind a trait you were born with that isn't white, male, or straight, so that you could feel good about yourself, and not that you're a parasitic piece of crap, and coincidentally not feel the slightest pang of guilt of besmirching and lessening the group of people that you belong to, hiding behind that trait. Bob, $2. Yeah, propaganda, where to look, the no bias data. Yeah, and even the data is getting biased now, like how they measure inflation. Shadowstats.org or .com, he's done a great job of measuring it. But after a while, the government's going to lie to you and the data is going to be corrupted. All you got to do is look around. Like, this is why, like, look at, are the girls hot? They're not. Your society's in decline. Shut up. Catch me and beat me up, you fat sow. Catch me. Run half a block. She's like, hopping on a rascal. I think I can even outrun a rascal. I don't know what the top speed of those are. Libertarian dictator, $5. Cappy, is it worth $15 a month for Paul Krugman's masterclass on economic theory? He didn't predict inflation. He got caught down with, this is me like saying, hey, follow me to be cancer proof. Follow my diet. And then I eat the diet. And then later on that week, I get diagnosed with cancer. You're like, what the hell? But there's a perfect example. The reason Paul Krugman is going to be always more successful than me is he tells people that economic rationalization is why socialism works. He doesn't have to be right. He just has to tell them what they want to hear. All right, there you guys go. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.